Good afternoon, Dr. Sharma. Welcome once again to another session on mental health. Good to have you, sir.
Good to be back, Mark, and good to be back with our viewers. And I look forward to another good program with you.
Well, we are blessed to have you, Dr. Sharma, discussing mental health. And today is May 29, 2020. And worldwide, we have about 5.8 million cases of COVID-19 coronavirus, with over 360,000 individuals that have died. In the US, we're over 1.7 million and over 103,000 individuals dead. And today I would like to discuss with you, Dr. Sharma, what are defense mechanisms?
Mark, we all use defense mechanisms. We develop them as we grow older. We have what they call immature defenses as we are younger as children, and then as we grow more mature, we tend to use some mature defenses that are protective of anxiety, and defenses are valuable. Its problem is when these defensive mechanisms go out of control or they acted on too much, or some that are not so healthy in their mechanisms. Overuse can cause problems, and we see that more manifest in people with personality problems, behaviors that impact on others, and sometimes they're not aware of what they're doing because these defense mechanisms are by and large unconscious. We're not aware of them. Sometimes we can consciously do things to put, say, negative thoughts out of our mind, because carrying negative thoughts in our mind all the time would obviously make people feel very bad, either about somebody or about themselves. So we can suppress those consciously, but by and large, these defense mechanisms that are within our brain act to protect us from anxiety or impulses and behaviors. But as I said, they can also go in a negative fashion and cause people to behave in a difficult manner. But they're not aware of it. That's the key thing. They're not aware that they're abusing the defense, or the defense mechanism are being used in a negative way because they're done unconsciously. The brain is sort of even protecting people who are behaving extremely badly to others and not letting that person gain insight into their behaviors. So that's a very interesting dynamics of defense mechanisms.
Absolutely, Doc. And what would you say as to why would we use the defense mechanism, especially from the point of view that it occurs in an unconscious manner?
Yeah, I think that's a question that brings us to the understanding of how the brain works for protecting our identity, our feelings, or what they call these defenses, ego defense mechanisms. So they all operate to protect us from bad feelings about ourselves, or sometimes to prevent the person from breaking down or becoming detached from reality. I'll give you an example of how it can work in a bad way, and then how it can work in a positive way. So, bad way is a child who may be molested can use a defense called dissociation, where they can split away from themselves when they're being abused or molested. And that can lead to even personality, a splitting of the personality, so they can actually become somebody else when they're state of abuse. So we call that multiple personality disorder, but that is a splitting away of the self to protect that individual from feeling so bad about what's happening. I think if you recall, there was a situation in the Iraq War where a private was being tortured, and then they found her. She had all the signs of a physical torture, but could not remember what happened. So in that situation of torture, she would have probably used that mechanism of dissociation to split away. It's almost like an out of body experience. So that's an extreme example of how these defenses can work to protect the individual from extreme violence and pain. But in a more common way, many of us use defenses like denial to sort of not experience too much pain, or we want to block off something that we don't want to know about ourselves. So many people with drinking problems, for example, would deny to themselves that they have a problem. They would say, well, I don't drink too much. I just take a few. When they inside, deep down, the consciousness is there that they do drink tremendous amount, but many persons with drinking problems will tell you, I don't have a problem. I don't drink too much. It's using that defense of denial. Another one is rationalization, where people would say, oh, I had to do this because I'm protecting people. For example, we may argue that locking down systems and so on for the benefit of people may not always be right, but the justification for that is saying, well, it's for the good of the many. We gotta lock away the society, for protection of people. So when we're doing that, we're using a mechanism called rationalization. It's a justification of things. Not necessarily all bad things we rationalize, but many times we do rationalize things that is somewhat not acceptable. For example, a police officer or army person in the military may have to commit a horrific crime of ending somebody's life. But they're doing it because they're protecting others. So the protection of others justifies that behavior. So in their mind, they would rationalize it and say, well, I had to do that. I had to take that life because I'm protecting people. So those are some of the common things we see as example of the better use of defense mechanism. But they generally happen at the unconscious level. It's amazing that it's not that the person is thinking this through to themselves. It's happening unconsciously for the brain to come to terms and accept things that are happening that may not be completely acceptable to others.
So, kind of following up with what you are saying, what happens when a person misuses their defense mechanism?
So when it's misused, it can be overused too much. If we start to justify every bad behavior, rationalizing it, well, I have the right to do everything I do, to take all the money from my people if I'm in a position of authority because I'm the best of everybody else. It actually becomes a personality disorder. That person who develops that kind of behavior of grandiosity and I'm entitled to everything. My job gives me the opportunity to take so much and I can take much more because I'm the supreme leader and the head of everything. And you see that a lot with leaders and politicians where they allow narcissistic defenses to go out of control, and that creates a personality disorder. It can manifest as a very dangerous personality disorder in the antisocial personality or the psychopath or the sociopath, where they can actually justify. They now use a number of defenses: justification, which is rationalization for the behaviors. They can use denial of their bad behaviors, so they don't let it come into their conscious and remember what they have done. They can use the significant abuse of people and deny it to themselves that they have done any wrong. They can probably allow a defense called repression, which is forgetting behaviors that are unacceptable. So they go to bed sleeping very happily despite the amount of abuse and criminal actions they do and the abuse of other persons' rights and liberties for their own grandiosity, for their own pleasure, for their own self-satisfaction. And those are pretty monstrous type of individuals that we see in society. We see them operating in leadership positions. It's truly unfortunate, Mark, that this happened. And it's allowed to happen because the person appears and operates as if they're quite normal. So they're talking to somebody, they operate. When Ted Bundy was committing all his horrific crimes, he was the most pleasant, congenial guy around, and people enjoyed his company. But this was a ghastly psychopath that killed and mutilated and raped women. Eventually ended up in the electric chair. So bad example, but that's what happened when abuse and misuse of these defenses occur. You see it in other personality types, like the persons who are paranoid, where they project, use a defense called projection, where they project their own negative thoughts and behaviors onto other people, you know. So those are some of those common examples that we see.
All right. Finally, Doc, if someone recognizes that they have a negative defense mechanism, how can we help that person deal with a defense mechanism within themselves?
It's insight, and the way to get to insight, insight means understanding ourselves as we are, is to probably, it's hard to do it on yourselves because we tend to put up these defenses or barriers to our own behaviors are not acceptable. So it's pretty hard to do it through a process of self-analysis. It can be done, where people open their minds to their behaviors that are not acceptable or accept what people are telling them about themselves. Somebody says, oh, you know, you're drinking too much. Say, well, you're absolutely right, you know, and I'm not going to deny it anymore. So overcoming the defenses is the first step, gaining insight. But generally, gaining insight is through therapy. Somebody else has to go into that person's brain, so to speak, and tell them you're overusing rationalization, you're overusing denial, you're not accepting your behaviors that are now right. Let's get down to that. Very hard, because people get accustomed to those kind of mechanisms for their own comfort level. When we disturb that comfort level, it's extremely hard for them to cope, you know. So I think that's the way to go. Therapy, acceptance, and seeking support, getting to a therapist who knows about it would be the way to go. That's my thinking about that.
Well, based on what you're saying and what you have said before, is that many times close friends and family will remind us in a loving way that maybe there's something we need to look at. And then
Yeah.
reaching out to the right individual, reaching out to the professionals like yourself, people can find help. And as you have
But it's
established,
hard, you know, Mark. If you think about it, look at the way some politicians behave. Everybody can tell them that you're not behaving right, and these actions are causing so much distress, and there a lot of people are saying that, and yet they refuse. They refuse to accept it. It's that true desire that human beings have for you know, materialism and material wealth and power that overrides common sense and decency and the morality that they should have. It's truly amazing that human beings operate like that, you know, and it's almost like quite bizarre that we are so much more evolved than the many animals in the animal kingdom, and yet we can operate more animalistic than some of those base animals that are there. Amazing.
so true, Doc, so true. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. You are a blessing to us and to the people of Guyana. And I look forward to serving with you soon. Hopefully, our team will be in Guyana again, conducting our dental, medical, and mental health outreach maybe early next year. But we look forward and thank you so much for your advice. And any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think we should maybe continue talking a little bit about defenses because it's so important in terms of how it shapes the lives of persons. If we're more educated to it, that people can confront others who they're seeing behaviors are not quite right, we can make some changes to our society to make it a much more humane place. We also have defenses that are positive that we should be using at this time of the COVID crisis, like sublimation of negative energy, do exercise, do positive things, use humor. Let's see some of the joy in life whilst we see some of the very sad times that people are experiencing.
Well, I look forward to another session of defense mechanism focusing on those steps, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to help those out there that are looking for help. Thank you. May God bless you and see you again soon, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Mark, and take care of yourself too, and keep safe.
Thank you, sir.